All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our Facebook Live. We want to welcome you. As always, you can always join us on our lives. We always share interesting information. And here we have Dr. Isabelle. We have Max and myself, Aurora, that will be talking about some different topics. And stay tuned. So first, we want to share a One Health song. And but before we start, we want to know if you can hear us. Anyone? You can just say yes before we continue.
And if you guys have any questions throughout the live, do feel free to comment and we will get back to you. We'll have some trivia questions that will also be posted in the comment. But yeah, first let's start off with our One Health song from Bay C.
Bay C. Icon. Yeah. Listen me, listen me, listen me. Listen me, listen me, feature. Spread the one that's with the paper across the region. Listen me, listen me, feature. Listen me. Listen me News would like to introduce you to this brand new concept. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love. Together we're strong. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love, love. Together we're strong. One Health are the brand new concept to fight virus and diseases. Calling all of the various doctors. Let's work together to achieve this. Human doctor, animal doctor, the environmental doctor. Each one an important factor. The public health have a brand new chapter. A good example of chickpea. Even if it don't hurt you, then it still a hurt me. If you check the process, you will see it move from the environment to animal, then to we. First from the egg in the water, then from the water to the mosquito, then from the mosquito it goes straight to the people. But if we work together, then it leads to One Health, One Caribbean, One Love. Together we're strong. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love, love. Together we're strong. One Health is not just for people with medical occupation. It is for the entire population. So we need everyone cooperation across the region. Improve food security, better solid waste management and water purity. Protect the habitat for you and me, for the animals on the land and the fish in the sea. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love. Together we're strong. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love, love. Together we're strong. Listen me. Enough respect to One Health leaders. 12 countries across the region. To a health the Caribbean, them a leaders. Let me list out the island: Jamaica, Grenada, Guyana, Belize, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Barbados, Dominica, Trinidad, Tobago, Haiti, Antigua. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love. Together we're strong. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love, love. Together we're strong. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love. Together we're strong. One Health, One Caribbean, One Love, love. Together we're strong.
All right, thank you guys for listening in. And yeah, we just love the message that Basie has to send, the way that he gets it across, and It's a great song. So that will be our intro. I hope you guys like it. So yeah, we have quite a few topics to cover today, ranging from animal welfare to current zoonotic diseases that we have to worry about. Also mentioning our recent Wildlife Ambassador Program workshops and outreach events, and also, of course, some patient highlights from here at the clinic. So what we're going to get into now is first we have about 4 trivia questions for you guys. You can comment the answers at any time throughout the live. And momentarily we will also have the questions posted in the comments. So if you guys don't see them here, they're going to be right there in the comments. Feel free to answer, and hey, you might even win yourself some merch. So let's get started with those. So our first one will be, who am I and what do you know about me? So that will be for obviously a species of turtle. And it does have more than one right answer in that selection, so you guys will want to be selecting all the right answers. Our second question will be, well, yeah, we have the one about the turtle, which does have multiple answers. Our next one will be, okay, you find this baby bird on the ground and it seems friendly but only flies short distances. So what should your reaction be here? And again, we have a number of options there. Feel free to comment the number of the question and the right answer, and we'll be looking at those at the end of the slide. And then we have 2 more questions actually.
But I guess our count is off, no? Because we start with 2 and now we have...
Yes. Okay, I apologize for the numbering of the questions. Go back to the last one. All right, so we also have a true or false, or well, 2 true or false actually. So once you have touched a baby animal, its parents won't take it back. So true or false? And you guys can also feel free to elaborate on this in your answer. Give us the reasons why, give us your reasoning, why or why not. And then our last question would be wildlife myth versus reality. Is it true that I, the Mexican-haired dwarf porcupine, can shoot my quills in self-defense? So do you guys think this is true or a fable about our wildlife here in Belize? Feel free to comment, and we'll be giving out these answers at the end of this live. Okay. And now we'll be moving on into a animal welfare video by Dr. Isabelle. Say a couple words, Doctor.
Yes, so that video was recorded recently for, we had Belize Animal Health Week and the Global Veterinary Day, and then our Belize Veterinary Day. For that, the Vet Association and the Surgeons Board had put together a number of activities, and this presentation was recorded to introduce a little bit what is animal welfare with a definition, and then why is it important for us humans, and what are the important links that we can also put under this One Health approach that we're taking to everything, with links to cruelty and violent crimes against humans. So with that being said, do not hesitate to post any questions you might have into the comments as well, and we'll be here live afterwards to answer anything.
Hello, thank you for joining and welcome to Belize Animal Health Week 2025. My name is Dr. Isabelle Paquiluron, and I was tasked to give a short talk about animal welfare and One Health for our Animal Health Week. We're coming up on World Veterinary Day on April 26th. And we look forward to share some information with you. So I will talk a little bit about what is animal welfare, and I will introduce the One Health concept. talk a little bit about zoonotic diseases, so diseases transmissible between species. And under that same topic, I will talk to you about why deworming pets protects us humans and why vaccinating pets is crucial to prevent zoonotic diseases for humans as well, including the example of rabies. I have to talk a little bit about animal cruelty and the link to human violence. And last but not least, the importance of cooperation for One Health. So, to begin with, what is animal welfare and why is this important to humans? So, animal welfare was defined with guiding principles by the World Organization for Animal Health, or WOHA. And these principles include the so-called 5 freedoms that I will introduce here in a minute. I just wanted to present to you as well from the WOHA website that these 5 freedoms were actually developed in 1965. They're widely recognized and describe society's expectations for the conditions that animals should experience when they're under human control. So this is not new. And let's talk about what are these 5 freedoms. So these 5 freedoms include the freedom from hunger, malnutrition, and thirst, so requiring proper diet. The next one is freedom from fear and distress, as well as freedom from heat stress or physical discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, and disease, and last but not least, the freedom to express normal patterns of behavior. This can be particularly challenging when we're talking about some of the exotic pets or the example of birds. A normal pattern of behavior for them has to include flight ability, for example. So these are the guiding principles for what is animal welfare. What do we mean with that? Why is this so important? In a nutshell, if we have well cared for animals, that equates healthy animals. And if we have healthy animals, that equates healthy humans. If we protect animals from diseases, we indirectly protect humans from many zoonotic diseases. And animal cruelty is linked to violence against humans and many other violent crimes. So again, protecting animal welfare equates ultimately to protecting humans from violence as well. And now, what is One Health? One Health, you could say, started as an idea that the health of humans is connected to the health of animals as well as our shared environment. For us, that is particularly important because if we protect one, we help to protect all 3 of them. In our case, as the Police Wildlife and Referral Clinic, we focus primarily on wildlife health, but we do so to ultimately protect human health and environmental health as well. So here is a billboard that we made to showcase this One Health concept, the 3 connected circles of human health, animal health, and environmental health that overlap in the center with all these innate connections that we have, whether we know it or we don't, whether we like animals or the environment or don't, we are impacted by both of those, and we do also impact them. What you can see here is the translations into all of our languages, so from English, Spanish, Mayan, and Garifuna, and last but not least, Creole, Kanek Alawi. We wanted to showcase that this is not something that affects just certain people, but it truly affects us all. We also have our phone number on here for any persons who do find wildlife in trouble or who have trouble with wildlife, where we have a 24/7 hotline to provide advice or assistance. Here now we have for you a full definition for what is the One Health approach. This definition was coined by the Food and Agricultural Organization, the World Animal Health Organization, and the World Health Organization, joined by the United Nations Environmental Program. This definition was coined in 2021 after the world had started experiencing COVID as a pandemic. So you can read it on the screen. It's an integrated, unifying approach with the aim to sustainably balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and the ecosystem. And yes, don't be fooled by these recent dates. COVID finally brought these entities together to agree on a joint definition, but this is certainly not new to veterinarians as a concept. Yeah, did you know, another CDC slide here, that One Health issues include from transmissible diseases between humans and animals or antibiotic resistance, also food safety and security. In a nutshell, if you eat an animal that is not healthy, it's a risk to you. So your food animals need to be healthy. And if those animals are processed in a dirty environment, again, it's not safe. And all three need to be optimized. Vector-borne diseases are another huge issue that falls under this concept and are the prime example where we will potentially treat the environment and alter the environment to interrupt a life cycle for a vector-transmitted disease like malaria or dengue, for example. And a lot more falls under this One Health concept that connects us all. To repeat, zoonosis spreads between animals and people. It goes both ways. We can contract diseases from animals, and animals can also contract diseases from us. So yes, why is this so important? Did you know that more than 50% of all infections that we humans get are indeed zoonotic? So it's the majority of our diseases that are shared between species. It's no small portion. And this brings me to why we should all have a big interest in deworming our dogs and cats. First of all, for the welfare of these animals to be healthier and not full of worms, but in many cases, humans are much more interested in the threat that this poses to humans. So parasitized dogs and cats will defecate and contaminate the environment in public areas, which is the source of infection for humans and particularly children who can contract roundworm eggs and contract what's called larva migrans. So treating our animals for worms actually protects our children from very hard to diagnose and complicated diseases. So that's why. And why do we want to vaccinate, for example, for rabies? Because rabies is a deadly disease for humans. It's also a deadly disease for animals. So we want to protect our animals from this. But the main source of infection for humans is pets. So globally speaking, rabies is contracted mostly from dogs and or cats that bite humans. So the infection happens via a bite, and any paralyzed or abnormal acting wild animal should be suspicious. We should always avoid bites at all costs. And if bites happen, they need to be reported and treated accordingly. But the easiest way to prevent the risk of rabies for humans is to keep our pets regularly vaccinated against rabies. Just one little slide in here on antimicrobial resistance, which is a very, very important global human health threat. And it is very much impacted by our personal use of antibiotics, as well as overprescription of antibiotics and the overuse of antibiotics in livestock, and also fish farming. So again, the use in veterinary medicine and in human medicine leads to increased risk of resistance. And if too many resistances develop, at some point, we're not going to have any more working antibiotics, and humanity will be moved back by 100 years because a simple little wound could potentially kill us. And again, antibiotic resistance is nothing that is limited to certain circles of people or certain types. It can literally affect anybody from babies to grandparents of any ethnicity. So yes, this is a very personal case. How does a car crash connect to One Health? This car accident happened in Belize almost 2 years ago, and it was caused by an animal. It was caused by an animal that was neglected, that was abandoned, and then left in the highway. And it stepped in front of the car and caused the car on the left to veer into the oncoming lane and led to a frontal collision. Sadly, in the white car was a very good friend of mine of over 20 years, and next to him, my mother. Fortunately, my mother was able to walk out of this accident alive with some broken bones, but my friend died. And in the other car, there were 4 people severely injured. So this happened because a person neglected their pet horse and left it roaming, and it entered the highway, and it was not secured. So these connections can be maybe surprising sometimes. We don't often think through to the end how we connect, but whether we like it or not, these connections are there. And this brings me to some examples for what is animal cruelty. Because next we're going to talk for a few minutes about animal cruelty, and we can start with physical abuse, which is hitting, kicking, burning, or otherwise causing physical harm to an animal, which is something that most people can easily associate with cruelty. But we also have neglect, where people may fail to provide adequate diet, water, shelter, or proper veterinary care to a sick animal. Mutilation or torture, intentionally damaging or torturing an animal. We also have sexual abuse, causing pain and suffering to an animal, or animal fighting under animal cruelty examples. So encouraging or participating in the fighting of animals is considered cruelty. Next example here is abandonment. My car crash example here, leaving an animal without providing for its basic needs and leaving it to roam on the highway. We also have here using harmful or inhumane training methods and confinement in inadequate conditions as examples for animal cruelty. So keeping an animal in a space that is too small, dirty, or otherwise unsuitable also falls under animal cruelty. So the link here, animal cruelty, again, using a One Health approach, we are concerned about it based on a concern for the animal, but even more concerning is that it is a sentinel. So in addition to causing pain and suffering to the animal, it can be an indicator and predictor or one of the earliest red flag warning signs of concurrent or future violent acts of the same persons. The National Link Coalition is something that I recommend you check out if you would like to find more information and articles on this topic, linking animal cruelty to child mistreatment, elder abuse, and domestic violence. These images here are from the National Sheriff's Association that states that substantial research has established the link between animal cruelty and other criminal behavior, including domestic violence, child abuse, elder abuse, homicide, sexual assault, drug and weapons violations, and terrorism. So here we have circles linking again, and here we have a little image designed for sharing this with more persons to understand this link, that it is not just an animal, but there is important reasons to not ignore animal cruelty because it affects humans as well. So the police department review of national crime records found that 70% of people charged with cruelty to animals also had other reported incidents of violent behavior, including murder. So yeah, here's just an example of another article. Both of those sites do have a wealth of information and articles on this link, giving a lot more importance to not turning a blind eye to animal cruelty. And here one more quote, understanding the correlation between animal cruelty and violence brings law enforcement one step closer to saving the lives of both animals and humans. We use the One Health approach in wildlife conservation education because we understand that while we may care for animals and the environment and its beauty, that does not really convince most persons. And yes, legislation, we have laws protecting animals and animal welfare are very important, not just for the animals, but when we're talking how these impact human health, we know that people are listening. That is a global concern that all humans share. So our ultimate goals as a conservation organization are coexistence, and as a wildlife health organization, prevention of zoonotic disease transmission and future pandemics as well. So here's a little example of one of the confiscated illegal pet coatis that we turned into a poster. And our first argument why they don't make good pets is the zoonosis argument here, because we can get some rather concerning diseases from these animals. So here one more time, our billboard on One Health connecting us all, and the emphasis that One Health truly has to involve everyone. While veterinarians may cover a few of these topics with food safety and zoonotic diseases and vector-borne diseases, farmers and pet owners, the general public, have to be involved. Of course, healthcare workers and epidemiologists, but also policymakers, laboratory workers, ecologists, everybody. Working together is key. If we do not work together, it can't work out. And that is the end of this very brief introduction to some rather big topics. I want to thank you for your attention, and we will stand by to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, and I hope that you guys all learned a bit about animal welfare and the unfortunate but well-known link between animal abuse and crimes against humans as well. It is quite disturbing, but it's something that we should be aware of and keep in mind, as Dr. Isabelle said, reporting these incidents can in the future help save human lives. So very, very important, guys. So next we'll be showing you guys a very brief little cartoon on One Health as well. This is kind of breaking down what One Health is from an organization, WOAH, which does specialize in this topic. World Organization of Animal Health.
They used to be called OIE, with a French name abbreviation, and they recently changed to WAP.
Well, one way to grab your attention. All right.
Okay, yes.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this little brief cartoon, and we'll be right back with you.
And no questions so far.
I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulty, but we'll be restarting that video now, and hopefully this time the volume does work. I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulty, but we'll be restarting that video now. All right, we'll be cutting back to that now then. Hopefully this time it goes through.
You know that, but did you know that? To keep you and your family healthy. The fathers
We have a
All right, I hope that you guys all enjoyed that video and learned a little bit more about One Health. So now getting a little bit more into the meat of this live, which is our brief update here on zoonotic risks here in Belize. So we do have a number of those currently. Some to keep an eye on, some that are actively spreading. So I'll let Dr. Isabelle tell you guys a bit more about this.
All right, yeah, thank you so much. And I will keep it brief. We have already talked about New World screwworm 2, 3, 4 times. We mention it pretty much every month. So we will re-mention it once more and also point you towards our past lives where we shared further videos more in depth on the life cycle screwworm, for example. But the update so far is that last week we had 68 cases countrywide now reported. And there are cases here on us in Cayo, which I believe we had the first ones when we had our last live. Just during that live, actually, the first case was reported. So the key on New World screwworm remains the same. Keep an eye on your animals and ensure that they don't have wounds, because this fly infests primarily wounds. So if there are no wounds on the animals and no smell of blood for that fly to find, there is much less risk of getting infected with it. If you see wounds, because of course life is life and wounds happen, then treat them. And treat them including with, so cleaning the wound, covering it or putting an ointment on it, and ultimately putting on the much beloved purple spray. In this case is indeed indicated because that has an insecticide that will help to keep the fly out of any existing wounds already. So those are the two most important things to prevent the fly from coming in. If there is any suspicion and there are wounds, then the next key to trying to get this under control is to immediately call the phone number for BAHA and to report it. This fly larva develops very, very fast. Everybody knows your botflies. They will take several weeks in under the skin in that wound. The New World screwworm in general, it used to be said, is about 7 days in the wound. In last week's update, we were actually told that there were cases now where maybe as little as 4 days, and the fly was already developed to the point where it could soon pupate. So even faster, which makes that you have to report it immediately, because once those little maggots come out of the wound and pupate, they make a next fly that makes 300 to 400 or more screwworm flies afterwards. So that is that quick reporting. And remember, New World screwworm is a lot smaller than botfly, so you may not really see it. You may just see a wound and it looks like it's oozing, it's maybe swollen and red, and keep your nose peeled. It may start smelling bad very early on, and the maggots may still be maybe 2 or 3 millimeters, so very small. And in the beginning, they are barely 1 millimeter in size, so very small as your differences to the botflies, very fast development. So quick reporting. And again, don't hesitate to send us any questions or comments here, or contact us via email or the hotline afterwards. So that's the screwworm update. Got a little longer than 1 minute. Then we have one more disease that we have talked about already repeatedly and will continue to re-mention, and that is avian influenza, where again we do have a pre-recorded video to introduce this disease. It's rather complex. but in a nutshell, it is often carried by wild birds, but it leads to severe consequences in our poultry. And we are very much concerned because this virus keeps on jumping into new species, and it is under global watch and high suspicion to turn potentially into a pandemic if it manages to jump into humans and multiply in humans. So that's why we will keep talking about it. Still to date, no reported case of what is called HPAI, so highly pathogenic avian influenza, or what is circulating for a few years now already in our doorsteps, having us on our toes, is H1N5. And again, not yet reported here in Belize, but as you all know, we're on the migratory path for a lot of wild birds. So we have to be vigilant, is what I'm trying to say. How to be vigilant is look out for any signs of disease in your poultry if you have poultry. And if you see or find any dead birds, report them. Do not touch and do not expose yourself. As a most recent update for this disease, why we continue to be concerned is that there was a first reported severe case in a human in Mexico. And this human, sadly, was I believe, 3-year-old girl, a young girl. And even more sadly so, she died as a consequence of this avian influenza infection that she had acquired. It was not yet clear why or where she had acquired it, but she was the first human severe case and then also fatality in Mexico. So this disease is on our doorsteps and it keeps on jumping. It has actually jumped, and we've already talked about this, into cattle, which then led to a risk to humans from cattle, aka milk. And yeah, we have to continue vigilant and the prime species to look out for our all of our birds, wild and domestic, and to observe biosafety around all of them and not touch. Again, short stand-up summary here of the latest news and why we are concerned about this. Ask questions as much as you deem necessary, and we will do our best to answer them. And the third disease here on my list, that is indeed something that we have not yet talked about, other than in our training workshops, because it's a vector-borne disease, malaria, which I am sure most of you in our audience are all familiar with malaria. You may or may not know that we did not have cases of malaria in Belize for several years, for quite a few years already. We had when was it, 2023, there were some cases, but they had actually been imported, as we may say. The persons that were infected with malaria traveled here with a disease and did not get it from infected mosquitoes here in Belize. However, now we have had first cases of local transmission, so that's the opposite of imported. That means there are mosquitoes in the Cayo area, and this was Santa Elena and Cristo Rey, where suspected cases were reported. And now that I see suspected cases, of course, that may not mean confirmed cases. So we have to confirm that, but it's always good to take precautions. And you may all know how to prevent the transmission of malaria. The best way there with a One Health approach is to slightly alter the environment and eliminate all water sources so that that mosquito can no longer multiply and pass on the germ with it. So check everywhere around your house. If you have standing water anywhere, dump it out. That is number one. Prevent mosquito bites, dusk and dawn. Covering up and using mosquito repellent are your first simple measures to prevent transmission of this disease. And yes, I will actually look into that and see if those are suspected cases, which means there is still a diagnostic confirmation that has to be done, or
Sorry to interrupt, but I believe that they were confirmed cases.
okay.
But they're just advising that if anyone does have any suspected cases, say if you are experiencing fever or chills, they are offering free testing at all healthcare facilities countrywide.
Yeah.
So if you do suspect yourself of having malaria, if you've been bitten by mosquitoes lately, if you're experiencing fever and chills, it's really best to be on the safe side here, guys. And the more we can map out where this is, the better chance we have of eradicating it again before it gets more widespread.
Yeah, and go to your local hospital is basically the best response to any and all diseases that affect you. And for malaria, public health, and then vector control work together to control this. But they need information. Oops. We have a little pop-up, but it's not on that screen, so. No, that's going to maximize it. There we go.
There we go. All right, guys.
That was so. That was the update on zoonosis for this month. And again, we're here to answer any questions.
Yeah. Okay, guys, and I did mention that we would be commenting our trivia questions in our comment section, but unfortunately, we're having a little bit of issue with that. We were not aware that you can no longer comment photos. But so I'll be briefly repeating these questions. Again, we'll be giving out the answers. I saw in the comments that one person has already replied to one of the questions, but we have 4 of them. So do comment your answers and we will be getting back to you guys. Well, we'll be giving out the correct answers at the end of this presentation. And Miss Magania, I do notice that you have a question posted in our comments. We'll be getting back to you about that and replying to that as soon as possible as well. So then we have our quiz questions again, which would be 4A, true or false. Once you have touched a baby animal, its parents won't take it back. So this is talking about, say, birds that have come out of the nest and are nearby the nest or something. If you find baby mammals also, it's talking about animals in general, whether this is a rule or not. 4B, we have the next wildlife true or false, which is it true that I can shoot my quills in self-defense? And if you guys can't quite make out that photo, it's a Mexican hairy dwarf porcupine, which we actually do have the pleasure of treating one of at the moment. Then we have the next question. Who am I and what do you know about me? We have some quite long answers here, but it is more than one of them. I'll give you guys that much of a hint. So if you could briefly look over those and tell us which letters you decide or which letters you think are correct, we'll be giving some confirmation at the end. And I believe we have one more question as well. This does somewhat relate to the first, but you find this baby bird on the ground. It seems friendly and it can only fly short distances. What should you do? So if you see the proper course of action here in the options of A, B, C, or D, do comment that. And like I said, guys, correct answers do have a chance of winning some merch from us. And the more questions you answer, the better, of course. Okay. Cool, and then we could move on to our next topic in that case. No, we'll try. Okay, so I'm sure that you guys, obviously you follow our social media page because we have you here now. But you guys might have seen about our upcoming Ultra Challenge Marathon. This will be a 4-day event going through the Mountain Pine Ridge Reserve, and it's going to be a very intense event, but also a really exciting one. This is to help us raise some funds towards the construction of the new clinic, as well as our animal care here at BWRC. So anyone that is going to be a part of this, that is participating, is supporting a really good cause. But unfortunately, guys, I have to inform you that the registration period is now closed. So from the 18th to 22nd of June, we will have some people running this ultra marathon, and kudos to all of you that will be participating.
Join us as a volunteer.
And we still have openings for volunteers as well. We need watering stations. These guys are going to be running for 4 days, guys. So we need to do everything that we can to keep them on the track. All right, and then that will take us into our next topic, which is another little event we're doing here at BWRC, which is our One Health poster contest. So we're looking at a way to somebody to design a poster for us that will convey our message of environmental health, human health, and animal health all being very strongly linked. The theme of the poster should be One Health, balancing human, animal, and environmental health, why animal and environmental health matters to human health. So if you guys have any ideas, if you guys are creative and can think of a great way to portray this, we really look forward to seeing your work. This can be made digitally, it could be hand-drawn, whatever medium you like. All the instructions are here, and you can find them on our Facebook page as well. And yeah, it's a good cause to support. Plus, our top 3 winners will get distribution of their posters and some prizes as well. So do send us your ideas, guys. We look forward to seeing more of those. And our registration, or our deadline, will be the 15th of June. So this poster contest is only open for 1 more month. So send in your submissions soon. Yeah.
So we also want to share some updates. We recently completed 2 Wildlife Ambassador workshops where we certified a total of 34 individuals, and we did 2 different groups. We did Yakshe and we did Be Free. So we want to congratulate all those 34 wildlife ambassadors that have been they did put their extra effort in doing these 2 days. They traveled from far to reach to our workshop presentations, and we really appreciate the effort that they did, and they all did great, surprisingly, right, Dr.
That's not surprising, but they did extremely well.
Yes, we had great questions coming in. We had great discussions with both of these groups. It was a real pleasure dealing with Yakshe Conservation Trust as well as Be Free, and helping them to learn better how to conserve the natural resources that they're protecting in their respective areas.
So we want to share some photos from the workshop that we did, and we also did some...
In addition to this, we did also do a number of outreach events lately. So we had the pleasure of joining UB for their Earth Day in Belmopan, which we reached out to about 75 different members of student body and faculty and informed them of what we do at BWRC and of the Wildlife Ambassador Program. We attended St. Martin de Porres, RC School's Education Week Activity Day yesterday, which was quite a pleasure, teaching the kids all about what we do. You guys can see some photos here. They had a great time, as did we. And also, we did outreach at Placencia Elementary School, in which we reached out to 76 students, faculty, and parents as well, and taught them a bit about what we did alongside other amazing like-minded organizations there. So a big thank you to Yaxcha and Be Free for participating in our workshop, and to these three education bodies, UB, Placencia Elementary, and St. Martin de Porres, for allowing us to come and spread our message at you guys' schools. It's quite a pleasure. Yeah. So now, guys, we will be moving along into a brief road safety video, and when we're done watching that video, we're going to briefly highlight why road safety is also very important to the health of wildlife as well as One Health.
This is a message from the second road safety project in Young Protege, the traffic man. If you want overtake and no have time, then go do it. Go do it. If you like overtake on the wrong side, then stop do it. Stop do it. A lot of tragedy could have been get avoided, but enough of them still push it. Please wear your helmet at all times. Everybody must do it. A lot of people really getting killed on the daily. Stop, think risky, think about safety. Think about your future, think about your family. Using the road is a responsibility. Stay alert cause life comes first. Don't overtake pan hill nor curves. One bad move could take a turn for the worst. We don't want nobody else end up in a hearse. Cause one life lost is one too many. Look how much people we don't lose already. We have to do better, drop the bad habits. You drive for me, and I drive for you. Pedestrians, we have to look out for them too. We can't let the cycle continue. If you want overtake and don't have time, then go do it. Don't do it. If you like overtake on the wrong side, then stop do it. Stop do it. A lot of tragedy could have been get avoided, but enough of them still push it. Please wear your helmet at all times. Everybody must do it. Must do it.
From the Belize Road Safety Initiative and Young Protege, the traffic man. Watch your speed, drive within 55 and stay alive or even save a life. Watch your speed, drive within 55 and stay alive or even save a life. Don't overspeed, drivers take heed. Let's play our part for a better release. Stay below 55 on the highways. In a village or a city, 25 and even when you're in a town, it's still the same. Down at the bumper when you see a little big liquor. More say drivers equal less fatality, and that equals to a better society. Watch your speed, drive within 55 and stay alive or even save a life. Watch your speed, drive within 55 and stay alive or even save a life.
Alright, again, thank you to the Belize Traffic Department as well as the Belize Road Safety Unit. We do appreciate the use of your guys' amazing video here that just highlights a lot of the important rules when it comes to road safety in Belize. So since our last live, we've had several very unfortunate incidences in which two jaguars were unfortunately killed by a road traffic accident right outside the world's only jaguar preserve, the Coxcomb Basin Wildlife Sanctuary. And they were killed at night, most likely due to excessive speeding. I know that the road in this area has recently been upgraded, but again, guys, it's really important for your health, the health of wildlife, and all involved to take your time, look where you're going. If you do see eye shine at night, turn your high beams down and slow down. That will allow these animals to get out of the way. And aside from these, we also had the unfortunate accident of a margay being knocked down in this very same area, and up very close to us in Mountain Pine Ridge Reserve, another jaguar, a very beautiful female, being also a victim of roadkill. So I know we all know people that have had unfortunate incidences when it comes to this, and again, just for the health of everyone, we really oblige you to just slow down, take your time, and it's always better late than never, right guys? So Yeah, so road safety is a really important topic to ourselves and to One Health in general, overall. So on that note, we'll move into some slightly happier news and get to our monthly highlights. So we'll be sharing that now. But in addition to that, if any of you have not received it, you may want to check in your promotional inbox, as for some reason it's been sent there for in some cases. Or you could reach out to us and we will definitely be sending it to you as well. This just kind of gives you some updates from the past quarter of different things happening here at the clinic. So different patient highlights, myself, staff, updates on the Wildlife Ambassador program, and yeah, just the day-to-day happenings here to keep you guys abreast of what's happening at the BWRC.
We can share, no, we can't share it in the live, but we can share it through our social media as well, no?
Yes, definitely. Also, a huge thank you to the interns that have helped us over the last couple months too. Without them, it would be a lot harder around here, let's say. So, to our interns and volunteers, as always, we owe you guys a huge debt of gratitude.
And yeah, anybody interested in volunteering, contact us. Yeah, these 88 new wildlife ambassadors mentioned there were prior to these last.
Yes, and my apologies for this, guys. This was a slight bit of negligence on our part, but our actual new number of wildlife ambassadors for the last quarter has been not 88, but that would make it 122, not 88. So it's been quite a productive couple months for us as well in terms of spreading the message and getting more of a network of our ambassadors going as well. All right, guys, and now we would like to share with you a small poster that was shared by one of our great partners in the field, the Friends for Conservation and Development, or FCD, about forest fires. As I had mentioned just now, we did receive baby Grace it appear from the village of La Gracia, and this was due to a wildfire which had separated her from her parents, or from her mother. And thanks to the right people coming across her and bringing her here to the clinic, she is now off to her new forever home to be an ambassador for her species there at the Belize Zoo. So some key notes to remember, guys. I know that it's not always we should avoid burning to the extent that we can. But if you do absolutely need to, these would be some tips to definitely follow. So avoid burning your garbage at all times. It's not only bad for the environment and risks wildfires, it's incredibly bad for your own health as well. Also, no burning dried up debris debris in areas where it would have a chance of spreading is a good rule of thumb, of course. Avoid throwing cigarette butts or anything that's lit up out of the window. I mean, I know it can be a kind of careless thing that you don't even think twice about, but this too can start some burns, and every spark is a threat to us at this time of year when everything is just so dry that it just takes a little bit to get it going. If you do have to burn fires, then recommendations would be to have the proper tools for being able to control this fire. Having a good fire break all the way around it, at least 6 feet wide. Better recommendation would be 10 to 12 feet. And definitely avoid leaving any fires unattended or unsupervised, because this is how they get out of control and just keep on going. And smoke inhalation isn't good for any of us. It's even worse for the animals that cannot get away. This is baby season right now. We're getting a lot of young animals coming into the clinic, and these animals that are nesting or not quite as mobile as they would be otherwise are at a huge risk from these wildfires, guys. So the more we can do to protect them, the better, of course, and the less we put them at risk. All right, and now we'll get to our trivia answers. So for question 5, you find this bird on the ground. It seems friendly and it can only fly short distances. What should you do? The answers that are correct would be B and C. That this bird is a fledgling. It has left the nest. You should not intervene unless there is immediate danger in the same yard. So this would be something like your pets being a bad threat to it. And option C, look for parents in the areas and from a distance, watch if similar looking birds come to feed this bird. With fledglings, it is very common for them to leave the nest before they're fully fledged and able to fly, and in this period you would see the parents coming down to feed them. In some species, this phase can even last up to a week. So before you go and intervene and accidentally kidnap a baby bird, it's best to observe from a distance, and if in doubt, call us here at the BWRC. Remember, we have our 24/7 hotline with the number 615-5159. Reach out to us anytime with your concerns, guys. On to the next question. So who am I and what do you know about me? So this question has a number of correct answers. Those would be A, D, E, F, and G. So I am a hicatee, the common name, also known as the Central American river turtle, or by a Latin species name Dermatemis maui. I am protected by the law. My species is critically endangered with a high risk of extinction due to overharvesting. My species does have a closed season. It does have an open season as well, which is managed by the fisheries department. And that closed season is right now, actually, guys, the month of May. So keep that in mind as well. And I can be hunted without a license as long as you respect the size limits, the closed season, and the allowed number. So this would be 1 turtle per person per year and a maximum of 3 per vehicle outside of the month of May, guys. But I would like to ask you all, I mean, I know it is a bit of a cultural meal here and now, but again, this species is critically endangered. If we don't give them a little break, nobody in the future is going to be able to see the beautiful creature we call the hicatee. So I guess on to our next question. Okay, and then for our final question, guys, I'm sorry we don't have the answer there to show you guys, but I'll read it out to you. True or false? You have touched a baby animal, its parents won't take it back. As you guys could tell from the question about our hatchling, or about our fledgling here, I'm sorry. This is false. The animal's parents will take it back. This is not a problem. Even if the nest falls out of a tree, you can take certain measures. You can make it its own type of nest up in a tree, even if this is a matter of nailing up a boot or something of that effect up there, just to give it somewhere to be in there and give it somewhere that the parents can come back to visit it. So yeah, the true answers would be, false for that. And next, wildlife myth versus reality. Is it true that I can shoot my quills in self-defense? For the Mexican hair dwarf porcupine. Again, this is false, guys. These spines on these porcupines are essentially specialized hairs. And getting them ripped out is incredibly painful for these creatures. That's why when we do have to handle them, for this species, there are very, very special measures that we do take. And yeah, shooting their quills is completely impossible for them. It's not something that you would ever have to worry about. These are fairly docile species. If you give them their space and especially keep your dogs put up away from them, you're not going to have any kind of problem. All right, and yeah, that would be our closing. If anyone is interested in the Wildlife Ambassador Program, we do have that sign-up link in our comments. It should be the first comment up there. And again, we'd like to just have some gratitude for all of you guys here viewing, taking time out of your day to hear our message, to our people helping us to transport animals to the clinic, to the amazing animal care team that we have here at the clinic, keeping our animals healthy and taken care of. And as well to our supporters, our sponsors, and the organizations allowing us to do outreach or our Wildlife Ambassador Program with them. Namely, for this last month, the Yaxche Conservation Trust, Be Free, St. Martin de Porres Roman Catholic School, the UB Environmental Club, as well as Placencia Elementary School. Huge thanks to all of you guys. All right. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to comment, and we will be looking at those and getting back to you as soon as we possibly can. All right. Thank you very much.